We bounced about a lot of different stylistic directions for the factory scene. Do we go for realism, based in a real factory, or production design considered building art installation inspired woolen mechanisms? In the end, we decided to utilise camera movement lenses and specific experimental camera techniques to see if we could give the impression or give the feeling we were inside the body of the woolen creature about to be taken apart in a factory. We were inspired by train spotting, under the skin, body horror, surgery videos, experimental techniques within music videos. We tried out using a 14mm lens and using quite mechanical camera movement as if it were the machine. So we went for the 14mm lens to make it feel like we were either inside the body that was being disassembled and we were watching the people outside who were dissecting the dead suit. It's quite typical of waking up after surgery in films to be shot from a low angle, looking up at bright lights or looking up at people. So we played on that aesthetic. We tried out extreme close-up cutaways of wool to contextualise the other shots. Lighting and production design-wise, we wanted to simply create a black void look that was quite unnerving, because it is in a sense a blank canvas, in which could mean anything, and it could be anywhere. I looked at behind-the-scenes videos from YouTube of how others have achieved the look in Under the Skins and in Stranger Things, and I found that they used a very large source soft light with a huge piece of black drape that would channel and direct the light straight onto the subject, straight down, so it was a top light. But because it was so huge, it didn't create the raccoon eyes underneath. It just kind of lightly spread, and it was kind of a low output light as well. However, they had a larger studio than the Blackbox, which meant they could put their backdrop much further away and their light much higher up, which really helped them to stop spilling light on the backdrop. They also used a watered or mirrored surface to help with the problem of light spill on the floor. We did a further test shoot for lighting and framing based upon an already devised storyboard which mapped out specific shots for the narrative, such as entering the factory, seeing the suit, and seeing the suit's skeleton. The test shoot revealed quite a few lighting difficulties, particularly in the wide shots that I had to work out. In the wide shots, where we can see floor and ceiling, and when the subjects move forwards or backwards towards camera, how do I not spill light onto the backdrop while simultaneously light for a moving shot? The 14mm was really wide, and the best angle was from below looking up. This meant we could see lots of ceiling. So do we have the lights in shot? Do they make it feel more like a factory, or do they just look like lights? Could we make them practical, or does that take away from the real element we want to achieve? And I think we ultimately decided, it would take away from that. So we had to find a way to hide the lights, but also light for a 360 on a 14mm, which was quite hard. I tried out using cardboard cutout to create a shape on the floor, so instead of having a circular spill on the floor, it felt like a purposeful shape. We also tried polyboards as large flags for the same effect. Ultimately, to limit the difficulty of the light spilling on the backdrop, we opted for a little bit less camera movement and to put our lights on a low output close to the subject. We could still see them in the frame, but as long as the subject didn't cross paths with the light, it was really easy to mask out in post with a tracking mask. We also put the soft light on a boom arm on a wheeling combo stand and pushed it as we moved, and that seemed to be the best way to do a moving shot and the camera move with them with the tracking. We decided after our test shoot that this was the strongest idea, and it had that sense of anticipation, like we were entering into something if we tracked with them, rather than trying to do a wide shot of the three of them walking towards the camera, because we encountered so many technical issues and the image itself wasn't so strong. Ultimately, we decided that a wide shot was not going to achieve the look that we wanted in the Blackbox, and that a green screen might actually be the way to go if we wanted to do full body. This meant we could go really wide and try out multiple different layouts of the factory workers stood underneath. We could have even multiplied them if we'd wanted to, but we felt that 3 was a good number for compositional reasons.